A Christmas Carol is an uplifting story which pivots around the ideas of change and redemption. The reader witnesses the transformation of Scrooge from a cantankerous miser to a cheerful, benevolent character who rejoices in Christmas and lives his life with generosity and goodwill. This change in personality and way of life means that he's redeemed or saved from the prospect of an afterlife of eternal misery. Going into your GCSE exam with an understanding of how Dickens presents these themes is really important. So, with that in mind, let's explore these ideas by focusing on 5 key quotations about change and redemption from Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. 1. Solitary as an oyster. At the start of the novella, Scrooge is described as isolated with the simile solitary as an oyster. The simile establishes him as a lonely man who's cut off from society. Oysters are found at the bottom of cold seas and are closed up, protecting the pearl inside. This reflects Scrooge's mean and miserly character as he greedily protects his wealth at the cost of human relationships. Alternatively, the simile could represent Scrooge as someone with a hidden pearl inside of himself, someone with an inner goodness or beauty that, if the shell is opened, will be revealed. From this point of view, even at the beginning of the novella, the reader can see that there's hope that Scrooge will be redeemed. 2. Without their visits, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first tomorrow. Marley informs Scrooge that the visits of the 3 Christmas ghosts will show him the error of his ways. Here, Marley serves as a plot device. Dickens uses Marley's words to explain the structure of the rest of the novella. The purpose of the ghosts is also explained, to educate Scrooge, to warn him and to begin the process of change. This also heightens dramatic tension as we wonder if Scrooge will be redeemed or whether it's already too late. Marley embodies the idea of redemption with his attempt to redeem Scrooge and save him from a miserable fate of walking the earth for eternity, doomed to carry his sins in the form of a terrible chain. 3. Why, it's Ali Baba, Scrooge exclaimed in ecstasy. The ghost of Christmas Past begins the transformation process as he takes Scrooge back in time to see his childhood self reading a story from the Arabian Nights. The character Ali Baba from the story comes alive for the lonely boy as Dickens allows us here to feel pity for the young Scrooge who was neglected as a child. We see how Scrooge was abandoned and understand how circumstances shaped him, as indeed our own childhood experiences shape us all. At this point in the story, Scrooge is beginning to change. The verb exclaimed shows how animated he is, and the noun ecstasy captures his joy of reading. He is seeing happiness in something other than money as he remembers the pleasure he gained from reading. As a child, Dickens himself greatly enjoyed the Arabian Nights stories, and, like the young Scrooge, his childhood years were also difficult. He was sent to work in a factory while his father was in prison for debt. Through the delight and comfort given by Ali Baba to the young Scrooge, Dickens shows us the pleasure in literature and possibly the value of education, especially relevant in the 1840s when most poor people couldn't read. 4. No, oh no, say he will be spared. In Stave 3, Scrooge's agony over the predicted death of Tiny Tim shows how much he's changing. There is a sharp contrast between his deep concern over a poor boy at this point and his dismissive attitude to the poor as merely surplus population at the start of the novella. Scrooge is changing, learning compassion and beginning to connect with humanity again. Dickens' aim in writing the novella was to show how the Christmas spirit can change an individual and also society for the better. Scrooge's transformation shows the reader how it's possible to change and how we all have a responsibility to care for those who are vulnerable in our society. 5. I am as light as a feather, I am as happy as an angel, I am as merry as a schoolboy. At the end, Scrooge's transformation is complete as he states just how differently he feels. The repetitive sentence structure of similes highlights his newfound positivity. There's a sense of Christian goodness with the comparison to an angel and genuine joy in the comparison to the schoolboy. We see the delight and hope that transformation and redemption can bring. Scrooge proceeds to correct the mistakes he made in Stave 1 by giving money to charity and improving Bob's Christmas. Dickens uses this mirrored structure to illustrate the enormous change in Scrooge. Exploring the text using key quotations is really going to help you reach those higher grades at GCSE. For more tips like this, the Lightbulb revision guides are available from Amazon, and there are more videos on our YouTube channel, including another on A Christmas Carol, exploring an alternative interpretation with the question, is A Christmas Carol a religious tale of redemption?